Okay, Brew, who do you got?
Coach, I don't know Brady like you do, but he knows. I saw that he knows that they're in trouble. I got New Orleans. Look, you mentioned it. Brady hadn't beaten them since he's been in Tampa Bay, 0-4. This is one of the two teams in his career that he has a losing record against. And the Seattle, he's 1-2. They haven't played him a lot. 4-5 in his career against New Orleans. We know that they have his number, Tampa Bay's number, whatever it might be. They beat them 7 straight times. I got New Orleans in this, and I know last week the defense was not good against Atlanta. All right, they won, they pulled it out, but Cordero Patterson ran all over him. But this has been one of the best rush defenses in the league over the last few years, and I'm saying that was an aberration. I'm saying they fix it. I don't think Leonard Fournette can run all over him. I think they have an answer for Brady. And offensively, I mean, they got the dark horse MVP, Jameis Winston, right? They got weapons galore. Michael Thomas is back, all right? We all saw it. He's back. Jarvis Landry looked great. I think he's going to look even better this week as the season goes on. Olave, the rookie, Alvin Kamara. I got New Orleans, Coach, keeping this thing going.
Well, Tom listed 27 things they need to do well, and he's right in all those areas. But the most important one to me was the turnover point that he made. And this is my concern with New Orleans is they got hot, and Jameis did a bunch of good things, and they can do that every game. But if they go too extreme and put too much of that on his plate, I think that's where you're going to see the good and bad that we've seen historically with him. And I have a feeling that they're going to trend more towards throwing the ball and taking more chances based off the success they had last week. And that's going to lead to mistakes. And that, to me, is what will get Tampa over the edge.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if New Orleans wins.
Shocked?
Really?
Shocked.
How shocked?
I would not be shocked.
Tom Brady and the Bucs struggled against Sean Payton's Saints. You mentioned he has a losing record against the Saints in his career. I don't have it in front of me, but I'll tell you this much. He's got a winning record against Dennis Allen, assuming he's played him. And I'm just basing that off the fact that everybody who's played Dennis Allen a couple
don't
times.
like Dennis Allen.
No, I don't. Guys, if we had...
Hater.
No, hold on. It's not, again, the winningest coaches in NFL history, if we had a full screen of it, the 10 winningest by a percentage basis, you know whose name shows up? Sean Payton. It's like 8th in the last 30 years. Then we had next full screen that was the losingest coaches in the NFL history. You know his name shows up? Dennis Allen. He's 9-28. He just, with a win this week, he gets big career win number 10, right around career game number 40. Guys, so we cannot bake into it that, the Saints have owned him. That was with Sean Payton. It also was with different defensive personnel. Also last year in New Orleans, while the Saints won, Brady threw for 375 and 4 touchdowns. And he threw a pick 6 at the very end to lose the game. So I understand that component of it. I do not think that the Saints are going to be able to deal with the Tampa defense. I think Brew makes a good point about the rushing attack, which is Atlanta was like running a college-style rushing attack because Mariota was out there at quarter. It was a lot of weird stuff that seemed to catch the Saints a bit off guard. So I don't think Fournette's going to have that same level of success. But the Bucs receivers are getting healthier with Evans and Julio both practicing today after all the receivers missing practice yesterday. I don't see how New Orleans can get to 14 points.
What?
Wow.
No. I don't see how New Orleans can get to 14 points against this Bucs defense with that offensive line, those issues. I don't.
I think that, look, I have respect for the Bucs defense, obviously, and Todd Bowles. But that Cowboys team they played last week, I mean, the offensive line, we know how depleted that is. They don't have close to the receivers that New Orleans has. So I think they looked a little better than they are last week against Dallas.
Yeah, their ability to be explosive, I think, is pretty high, and their ability to generate points quickly is pretty high. And I think the issue is how much they're going to try to lean on that, and that's where the problems are going to come. They're not going to have problems scoring, especially if they're balanced, and especially if they use all the different assets that they have. Then, to me, they've got a chance to not only score 14, but a lot more than 14.
Coach, can I show you Brady's career numbers, regular season against the Saints? So this is when he's with the Bucs, not with the Patriots. He's got 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He also had a bunch of fumbles. Is there a point where the Saints defense feels like they have this guy's number, We're like, you know what? We know that we can rattle him. We're not scared of him. When you talk about so many people go in, last year, you intercept Tom Brady, you go and ask for his autograph on the ball. It doesn't feel like the Saints view him as this deity that a lot of the other teams do.
Yeah, that could be a big mistake that they make. Each year is so different, and if you go into the game thinking that you have Tom Brady's number, that's going to be a really poor starting point. They've had success against them, and for different reasons and in different games. But to go in thinking that they have it figured out, I don't think that's the best approach for them.
The Saints were wildly fortunate to win that game last week. It took some head-scratching decisions by Arthur Smith. It took a gutsy, massive field goal by Will Lutz back, after having an injured year last year. And they still were lining up, with Atlanta getting to kick a field goal at the gun to potentially win the game. Everyone is focused on Brady's struggles against this Saints defense, which isn't even this Saints defense, with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gone, or with Tyrann Mathieu, who I love as a leader, but is not the same player he once was, and started all those things. I think people are missing the boat here. I think that I saw Jameis Winston against an Atlanta front that no one is scared of, sacked almost half a dozen times, and he could have been sacked 3 more. Some of that was protection breakdowns. Some of that was Jameis being Jameis. I don't know how New Orleans is going to block Tampa Bay up front. Wow. And so I don't know. I think Tampa Bay's defense with Todd Bowles, I'm not worried about that. I think Tampa Bay's defense is going to kick their butts.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.